Good morning, my dear students. Today, let us continue the science second chapter, nutrition in animals. In the previous class, we have studied about the digestive system of human beings. The digestive system of a human. In that, I explained 6 compartments in detail, how the food undergoes digestion in each compartment. Now let us study today's class some grass eating animals. The digestion in grass eating animals. See, some animals like cows, buffaloes, deer, even an elephant also, some they are depending upon vegetarian food. Even though elephant is a very large animal, but it's a vegetarian animal. Now grass eating animals, how the digestive system takes place in that animals. Have you observed the cows and buffaloes? Now they used to take rest and go on chewing. Now what they used to chew, that chewing what they do, now that process, what we call eating process, they eat grass continuously. What they do, they eat grass where they get in the fields, where they go for to get the food for them in the fields. Now that cows or buffaloes or grass eating animals, what they do, they continuously take the food. They continuously eat the food. That food will remain in the part of the stomach called rumen. Now what they do, as we eat the food, morning breakfast, afternoon lunch, night dinner, like that, but grass eating animals, they, when they get food in large quantity, they completely swallow it, they take it, and after that the food what they eat, the grass what they eat, that will remain in the rumen. That what that remains in the rumen, the grass, it is partially digested food we call. It is partially digested. That food is partially digested. That partially digested food which is remains in the rumen, we call it as cud. Cud means it is partially digested grass or food in the grass eating animals. Now the cud returns to mouth in small lumps and the animals chews it. We call it as rumination. What I said, the grass eating animals like cows, buffaloes, they eat the food continuously when they get the food grass, when they are in fields. That food will be digested afterwards, because the what they eat continuously, that will be stored in the part of the stomach, we call it as rumen. In the part of the stomach rumen, this food is partially digested. That partially digested food we call it as cud. This cud is again the grass eating animal, it won't eat still more. When its stomach belly is filled, it stops. That time what the stored food is remains now in the rumen, that will be brought to mouth. That cud, what you call partially digested food, it is again, it will be again, it will bring the brought in mouth and in small lumps. How it, the curd returns to the mouth, that will be the curd of partially digested food returns to mouth in small lumps, and there the animals again chews, again starts to chew, and there this process we call it as rumination. The partially digested food which remains in the rumen and it will return to mouth and animal starts to chew, this process we call it as rumination. This process where it takes place in the animals, we call them as ruminants. Are you followed, children? Here, grass eating animal continuously they eat food that remains in the part of the stomach, we call it as rumen. Again, this is in the rumen, partial digested food, we call that name particularly curd. The curd means partially digested food. Again, it will that returns to the mouth and the animal start to chew. This process we call it as rumination. The animals which show this type of process, we call them as ruminants. Are you follow, children? Now again here rumen, curd, rumination I have explained in detail. Next, cellulose. Grass is rich in cellulose. What is cellulose? It is a type of carbohydrate. Grass is rich in cellulose. It is a type of carbohydrate. Now, how this cellulose will be digested? In that cellulose is digested in the bacteria, that some bacteria present in rumen, they helps in the digestion of cellulose. Now rumen, I said, now it is a part of the stomach where some bacteria are also present which helps in the process of digestion of cellulose, which is a type of carbohydrate. Next, some animals like horse and rabbit, they have a sac-like structure in between the organs, compartments of the digestive system, esophagus and small intestine. Now they have some grass eating animals, horse and rabbit, they have a sac-like structure between the digestive compartments like esophagus and small intestine. Now that part we call it as cecum. That sac-like structure we call it as cecum. Now cellulose is digested here in the cecum by the action of bacteria. Now in the case of buffaloes and cows, bacteria which are present in the rumen, they help in the case of digestion of cellulose, which is now present very rich in grass, which is a type of carbohydrate. Whereas some animals like horse and rabbit, they also eat grass. Now what they do, in that one sac-like structure which we called as cecum, that collects this grass, that food, sac-like structure, that horse and rabbit they have a sac structure between the organs, compartments of the digestive system, esophagus and small intestine. Now in these animals, the cellulose is digested by the action of bacteria. Bacteria are present in cecum. They help in the case of digestion of cellulose. Now children, I think you are followed my point today what I have explained. Digestion in grass eating animals. Grass eating animals, Now they, when they get food continuously, they eat, afterwards they chew, afterwards the process takes place, digestion. In that animals also digestive system is there, they also that food will be digested. Is it clear? Now next, here we have studied in the previous part the digestive system in human beings, 6 different compartments. All those things I have explained in detail. You understood. And also the human digestive system has now 6 compartments. At the same time, here in the case of animals also some compartments are there, but the process is different. We eat very small quantity of food at different intervals, morning, afternoon and in the night. But whereas animals, when they get food, they eat it continuously. Afterwards they start to chew, afterwards they start to digest it. Is it clear, my children? Now next, one of the what we call microorganism. What you call microorganism? Amoeba, it is a microorganism which is not, we cannot see through our naked eyes, microscopic. We have to use microscope to see this organism. Microscopic, it is a single celled organism, single celled microscopic or unicellular organism. Now that also it is a type of it is a microscopic organism. In that also how it feeds, how it digests, everything same now as we are studying, but it is not visible. Now in this amoeba, unicellular, single celled, now it has a nucleus. It is a broad, wider nucleus. Then amoeba, it is all not having same shape, it changes constantly its shape and position. It won't remain, it will change its shape and position constantly. Now what I have drawn on this board diagram, that is the not correct, what you call, it is the shape is not like this always, it will change and it will change the position. Now what I am saying, nucleus in this part, then pseudopodium, then food particle which are entering, then food vacuole, then cell membrane, then ejection. Amoeba, where we find amoeba, we are finding amoeba in water ponds, in water. Now it is a aquatic animal, it is found in we can see amoeba microorganism in water, aquatic animal. Now here how it captures food, now we call it as a finger like structures, pseudopodia we call. Finger like structure are present in amoeba that will help this organism to capture the food, and the movement of the amoeba also it helps to capture. The food is captured by through pseudopodia. Now pseudo falls. Now the finger like structures are present which helps in the case of movement of the organism and to capture the food. Is it clear, my children? Now the food will be taken, this we call it as a pseudopodia, which will it also depends upon microorganisms. When it feels to get the food, it will the finger-like structure will attack on the microbes, and that will be taken by the amoeba. And that food which enters amoeba, it will be filled in food vacuoles. Some food vacuoles are present in the amoeba. Some digestive juices which are present in amoeba, that will digest the food. Afterwards, again the energy is what it will get, it will required for its growth and maintenance. And after the digestion, the waste will be ejected through egestion. That we call it as egestion, excretion. In the case of human beings, we have excretory organs like this. Here also, after the absorption of food, now assimilation of food, everything, it is waste will be ejected, excreted through amoeba. Now, even though it is a unicellular organism, we called multicellular. Other than amoeba, all microbes, many are there. Some are unicellular organisms, but we are multicellular organisms. Multi means many. This uni means single-celled organism. They also feed, they also digest, they also excrete. As in the case of human being, now digestion, ingestion, then absorption, assimilation, then egestion. Same in the case of amoeba also. Now let us now again conclude today's what I have taught, digestion in grass eating animals. In that some are, I explain example, cows and buffaloes. Now what they eat continuously, food, the grass, it remains in the part of the stomach called rumen. The process which takes place digestion in that now part, that partially digested food which remains in the stomach, we call it as cud. Now the cud again returns to the mouth and will be digested, chewed by the animal. We call it as rumination. This process where it takes place in the case of animals, we call them as ruminants. Now the grass what they eat, it is very rich in cellulose. That the cellulose is a type of carbohydrate that will be digested by the help of bacteria. Some bacteria which are present in the rumen, they help in the case of digestion of the cellulose. Now some other animals like horse and rabbits, some other, now they have a sac-like structure, we call it as a cecum. There some bacteria help the cellulose to digest. This type of system is not present. Cellulose is not present in human beings. Now cellulose will be digested in the grass eating animals with the help of bacteria, but whereas this type of system is not present in the case of human beings. So here today let us conclude this lesson, nutrition in animals. Now in the next class you will get the notes for this chapter. Afterwards I will conduct one unit test. Now thank you children.